In the summer of 1518, in the city of Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire, dozens of people began to dance. Not at a celebration, not to joyful music, and not for fun, but uncontrollably and seemingly against their will. Day and night, they danced until they collapsed from exhaustion. Some even danced to their deaths. This bizarre historical event would go on to be called the Dancing Plague of 1518, one of the most perplexing medical mysteries of all time. It all started in July of 1518, when a woman named Frau Troffea stepped out into the streets of Strasbourg and began to dance. There was no music, no crowd, no festival. She danced alone, and she didn't stop. At first, onlookers were baffled. Some even found it amusing. But as hours turned into days, the laughter stopped. Troffea kept dancing, twitching, and jerking her limbs uncontrollably. After about 6 days, she was taken away, but the epidemic had already begun. In the span of a week, over 30 people had joined her in this relentless dancing. Within a month, the number had climbed to around 400 people, men, women, and even children. Authorities were horrified. People were collapsing from sheer exhaustion. Many were injured, and some reportedly died from heart attacks, strokes, or exhaustion caused by dancing for days without rest, food, or water. Incredibly, the city's response was to try to dance it out. Believing that the afflicted would recover if they simply danced until the mania left them, they hired musicians and cleared halls and stages to give the dancers more room. This, of course, only made things worse. Soon the streets were filled with swaying, jerking bodies, dancing not with joy, but with torment. So what caused this bizarre outbreak? Historians and scientists have been debating the cause of the dancing plague for centuries. Several theories have emerged. One popular theory is ergotism, caused by eating bread made from rye contaminated with ergot, a hallucinogenic fungus similar to LSD. This could have caused hallucinations, muscle spasms, and convulsions. However, critics argue that ergot poisoning would have affected people in more random patterns, not an entire city block in unison. Another widely supported theory is mass psychogenic illness, also known as mass hysteria. This occurs when a group of people experience similar physical symptoms due to psychological stress. Strasbourg was going through extreme hardship at the time. Famine, disease, and poverty were rampant. Religious fears and superstitions were high. People may have unconsciously turned their psychological stress into physical symptoms, in this case, dancing. Many locals believed the outbreak was the work of Saint Vitus, the patron saint of dancers. They feared they had been cursed for their sins. Some even made religious pilgrimages and held rituals at shrines to appease the saint. The dancing eventually stopped. How exactly it ended is unclear, but records suggest the afflicted were taken to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus, where they were made to wear red shoes and participate in religious rituals. Many reportedly recovered after this. By September 1518, the plague had subsided, but not without leaving behind a haunting legacy. Though it seems unbelievable, contemporary accounts from physicians, city records, and even clergy confirm that something truly strange happened in Strasbourg that year. The dancing plague of 1518 remains one of the most disturbing and bizarre mysteries in medical history. Whether caused by a toxic fungus, mass hysteria, or religious mania, it reminds us of how powerful the human mind and body can be, especially in times of fear, uncertainty, and crisis. In a world still grappling with pandemics, mass anxiety, and psychological stress, the story of the dancing plague offers both a cautionary tale and a strange, fascinating glimpse into the complexities of the human condition. To understand the dancing plague, we need to understand the world in which it happened. In 1518, Strasbourg was part of the Holy Roman Empire. It was a time of great turmoil. Famine had struck the region. The Rhine River had flooded, devastating crops. Disease outbreaks were common. The Black Death still haunted memories, and tensions were rising between Catholics and early Protestants. People lived in constant fear of divine punishment. Life expectancy was low. Superstition was high. In this volatile climate, it's not hard to imagine how stress, trauma, and desperation could erupt into something unexplainable. Believe it or not, the 1518 incident wasn't the first of its kind. There are earlier records of similar dance manias in Germany, the Netherlands, and even Switzerland, dating back to the 14th century. Most were localized, involving dozens or maybe hundreds, but none were as large-scale or well-documented as Strasbourg. Some researchers call these episodes choreomania. Others view them as a form of collective mental breakdown. Modern psychology has since documented other forms of mass psychogenic illness. In 1962, for instance, a laughter epidemic broke out in Tanzania, where school children began laughing uncontrollably for days. The cause? Likely psychological stress. In schools, factories, and even on social media today, symptoms of panic, anxiety, and strange physical behavior can spread virally through groups under pressure. The human brain is powerful, and sometimes, it seems, it can make the body act out its distress. Neuroscientists believe that mirror neurons, the part of our brain that allows us to empathize and imitate others, might play a role. When we see someone yawn, we yawn. When one person panics, others follow. In a tightly knit, terrified society, that mimicry can turn extreme. In the case of the dancing plague, it's possible that Frau Troffea's suffering was witnessed and subconsciously adopted by others. Not out of choice, but out of fear and shared trauma. It's easy to look at the dancing plague and laugh or shake our heads. But we live in an age where mass influence and psychological stress are everywhere. In the digital world, a single tweet can start a movement. Misinformation can trigger panic, and the body still responds to trauma in ancient ways. Could we see a modern version of a psychogenic event? Possibly. But instead of dancing in the streets, it might manifest in online behavior, mysterious illnesses, or even social contagions. The dancing plague of 1518 is more than just a strange footnote in history. It's a window into the fragile boundary between mind and body, between fear and faith, between the individual and the crowd. Whether it was caused by a fungus, a saint, or a mind pushed past its limit, we may never fully know. But its lesson is timeless. In times of collective stress, the human psyche can behave in ways no one expects.